What's up, everybody? Mike Araiza here, and we're here at Soldano Custom Amplification. We've got one of Mike's personal Soldano SLOs here, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to bring Mike up, and we're going to go over this beautiful amp.
Hey Mike, how are you?
Man, great to see you again. Thanks
you.
for having me.
You bet. Good to see you as always.
Yeah. So
yeah, this is mine.
Yeah. How cool is that you can build an amp and have it sound so great, and also have your own name on it?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I like it.
One of the this amp I own myself, and there's a lot of tradition and there's a lot of craftsmanship that's built in this amp, and the topology of this. What made you want to build this amp? How did we end up in the SLO?
Well, I was looking for my sound, you know, back in the million years ago, before dinosaurs roamed the earth, and you know, there wasn't really a lot of choices for high gain amps back in those days. This was, you know, probably, well, the search started in the early 80s for me, but it took a while to learn about electronics so that I could design my own amp and everything, blah, blah, blah. The story's been, you know, documented before, but basically I was looking for the tone, and I wanted an amp that had killer gain, had two channels, because, you know, I wanted that ability to have two distinct sounds, but I didn't want the channels to depend on each other. And up to that point, the one high gain amp that was on the market at the time required that in order to get a good overdrive sound, you had to really drive the normal channel or the clean channel. And if you wanted a good clean sound, you never had enough drive for the overdrive channel. So my first thinking was, I wanted to build something that had parallel controls and the ability to have parallel sounds where one channel did not depend on the other. And that's why the SLO has a separate preamp and master volume for each channel, and they don't affect each other. When you're in the clean channel, the overdrive master and the overdrive pre-gain don't affect anything, and vice versa. And so, based on that, I worked to come up with what I considered the ultimate rock sound, and that was the gain channel. And once I had that, I just worked backwards from there to then have a normal channel, which, you know, to me, I want, you know, a classic rock sound, you know, right. You know, think JMP Marshall, right, you know, so that's how this amp came to be. It was really just something I built for myself. I really had no intention of even being in the amp business back then. I wanted to be a rock star. Yeah. But once this thing was created and people heard it, it was just like, they're like, what is that? I want one. And so all of a sudden I'm thinking like, well, you know, this is a possible business here. And I built one for a good friend of mine, Tommy Martin. He has #1. And from there on, I was just like, well, I guess I'm in the amp business. And it took a while for it to actually get legs, because as much as I believed in it and some of my friends believed in it, nobody heard of me. Right. So in 1987, I moved to Los Angeles, got a little shop in Hollywood, put up a sign, and then waited for people to show up. And it took about a year and a half before, you know, the word got out. But once it did, we got on the map, and we've been going ever since.
Let's hear the differences. We're going to go to that first channel. The legends are true of the high gain. Being a owner of the SLO myself, the biggest question I get is about that first channel. Okay, and so we're gonna give it a listen. Now the P90s help. One thing that I would like to say about this amp is every guitar that I've been able to put in front of it, Strat, P90s, humbuckers, it gives a true representation of what that pickup is and the characteristics of it. And as you can see, this is clean, but it has that 70s vibe of clean, right? And a little later, we're going to talk about the 50s and 60s clean. But right now we're talking about the SLO, and we're talking about has that 70s clean right there. I mean, it's got to me, I'm feeling Page.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I was shooting kind of for, you know, the Tweed Bassman kind of vibe in that channel, because in the 70s that's what guys were playing through, you know.
Yeah.
And of course that's what Marshall was, you know, born from as well. So that was definitely what I was looking for. And earlier you mentioned something that I want to kind of reinforce, and that is that you could tell what guitar you plugged in. That you mentioned, like, every time you plug a different guitar in there, it sounds, and that was a very important thing with me. It's like some of the other high gain stuff that was being bandied around in the 80s there, when you plugged in any kind of guitar, you got the same sound out of the speakers no matter what the guitar was. Right. You plug in a Strat, you plug in a Les Paul with humbuckers, they all sound the same. And I wanted to design a circuit that was more transparent than that, so that it not only could tell the difference between a Tele and a Strat and a Les Paul, but it could tell between two different Teles and Strats and Les Pauls. So I wanted a circuit that would do all the stuff we want it to do, but not color it itself. I wanted the guitar to come through, and then the amp just do what it was supposed to do to make the guitar sound better, but still not take away from what the guitar was. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because that is, to me, was one of the important design criteria when I designed this amp, was that I really wanted that transparency, I wanted that articulation, I wanted the amp to really know that you, the guitar player, were the boss and not the amp. The amp shouldn't be driving you, you should be driving the amp.
And from that 70s and 60s traditions, before there was Hendrix was the guy that introduced us all to pedals, right?
Yeah, of course.
You know, and Page, of course. You know, a lot of guitar players did a lot of their tone changes from their guitar.
Yeah.
So we're still on the clean channel. I just want to show, just for my guitar, I haven't touched the amp yet.
Yeah. Hands off the amp.
Now we're doing this so we can hear the tone of the amp, the tone of the guitar, and we're focusing on the normal channel of the amp, which you could call clean. It's clean, and then without touching the amp, we'll use the guitar to take us into the more pushed area of the normal channel as well. So it's like
and that's the channel was because I didn't want to call it clean, because it's not necessarily clean.
Right, it's not clean.
It's just the normal rather than the overdrive. Yeah.
Right. Now we're going to change pickups. And right there, that demonstrates the adjusting the volume of the guitar. The headroom is there in the preamp and in the power amp, and they just have this really nice concert. And for you guys who are out there that have that Strat, have that Telecaster, and have that old throwback where you just want to stand in front of your amp and you want to be in total control and not do what I like to call the pedal dance, this normal channel alone, as you can see, is covering it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very versatile channel. You can do a lot with it.
Right. And let's do one other tone example here. Once again, the normal channel of the SLO. We haven't touched the amps. You can see the settings here. This is all done from the guitar. We're going to do another riff, relying on the guitar, not touching the amp.
Not touching it.
Yeah. And the noise is from the P90s.
Yeah.
And the lights, not the amp. channel of the amp. I hope really that this gets to you guys that are watching on your cell phones and on YouTube and your tablets and your computers, that the tone is, all these tones were accomplished just from the normal channel. We're going to move on now, if that's cool, to the overdrive channel.
Yeah, go for it.
High gain.
Cool.
That's just as much of the signature sound of the SLO as the normal channel. The differentiation for high gain between this and, let's say, any of the other amps, your contemporaries. Mm-hmm. In your short elevator speech, if you would, I know what separates this circuit from the other ones. But what was it, that the topology of it, that where you says, this circuit is over 25 years old, right?
Yeah.
And it still sounds contemporary. We just heard it still sounds modern. What is it about this circuit that makes everybody emulate and attempt to achieve? Right?
Well, Mike, I think what it really is it just kind of rocks, it's got that sound. And I think what I was trying to achieve back then, and still, to this day, it's my number one guiding thing, is a super solid rock sound, but where it's defined and it articulates, and where it showcases you as a player rather than hides you as a player. Like a lot of people say when they first plug in one of these amps, it's like, oh man, I really have to, I have to pay attention to what I'm doing.
Yes.
And I guess on one hand that could be sort of scary and bad, but in reality it's actually a good thing, because it makes you work. It makes you work, but also then it allows everything you're trying to do. Right. It makes it brings it forward, so that all that work you've spent coming up with that really cool riff or this or that or anything else, the amp makes it shine. It takes what you've got in your fingers and your hands, and it makes it better. It just embellishes what you were already trying to do. You don't have to fight it. It's there to help you. So I think that's the difference. Because a lot of high gain amps, they're out of control. It's like they've got all kinds of weird latent sounds. Like you stop playing a note, there's this weird other ghost note that's kind of hanging out in the background and mushing up your sound. And so even though you're playing really clean and accurately, the amp's kind of going, it's kind of
a lot of unnatural overtones.
Yeah,
not natural to the instrument.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And so I, what I worked on very hard when I developed this amp, and what I continue to work on, is trying to come up with stuff that is extremely, for lack of a better word, simple. In other words, it does what it's supposed to do, but it doesn't do anything more than it's supposed to do. And so I think the SLO and all of my other high gain stuff that I do does that. I feel I achieved my goal, and going on over 30 years of doing it, I'd say, people tend to agree. So
right now we're at Soldano shop here in Seattle. That riff, as you can see, it has a throwback to that convergence of early 90s to me.
Right. Oh yeah.
The savage sound of the 90s.
Oh yeah.
Right. So we did make a change to the amp from the normal channel. The overdrive is up around 6, bass is 6, 5 on the middle, trebles around 6, and the master volume's on 2 right now, and the press is on 5. I wanted to bring attention to the 2. There's a lot of guys that have been around tube amps. You got to open it up to make it work. Not really the case with this amp. You can take it as loud as you want, but the circuitry is designed to have it work.
At all volume.
At all volume. This is definitely something. And the amp is so much in demand. We've got Russ back there.
Cranking away on
them. So you better place your order with Lynn at Blue City Music.
That's right.
Because you're going to be on a waiting list.
That's right.
That's right. But yeah, so the the marriage between the preamp and the output, the circuitry allows for this amp to sound good at all volume.
And that was another one of my design criteria way back in 1983 or whenever it was I started thinking this amp through, and that is I really wanted an amp that sounded good at all volumes, because at that time I was playing in little places that were the size of a waiting room, and you couldn't crank up a 100-watt amp and get loud. And a lot of the amps in those days, the only way they sound good is if you cranked them up to just ear deafening levels. And I was like, no, I need an amp that's more flexible. I can't afford to have a little amp for little places, and a big amp for big places. Because I was really broke back in those days, and I didn't have any money. So I decided whatever I ended up, and again, this is way before I planned on building amps for other people. I was just building one amp for myself, which was ultimately became the SLO. And the thing was, I did want to have it sound good at all volume levels. And so that goal was one of the, or what that design criteria was one of the things I really had always in the forefront. And so my thinking was, don't rely on power tube distortion. Do it all in the preamp. When the power amp does get to that point, it'll just add that much more magic to it. But
more compression.
Yeah, but you don't need it to sound good. So like you say, we're here at
2.
Yeah, in fact, we're below 2. We're at about 1 3/4 here.
Right.
And it sounds...
And it's beefy.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Sounds huge to me.
Yeah, it's raw. I would like to do a comparison. I'm going to keep. It's louder than my voice, right? But this is something that would definitely work in your home recording studio.
Oh yeah.
This works at small club gigs, and it will work on the bigger stages. This amp and this circuit will take you to all venues, and we'll talk a little bit later if you wanted something smaller. But this is the flagship. This is the signature sound of Soldano.
Yeah, it's the one that put me on the map.
Right, and
no doubt.
Yeah, and I mean we've got there's some switches over here that you got a normal and a bright switch, and then on the normal channel you can switch between crunch and clean. It's just really honestly just like a slight reduction.
It's a pad. It's a gain pad.
It's a gain pad.
It allows you to have more fine tuning in the lower range if you're trying to go for a real clean sound. So basically you can get the same clean sound in the crunch channel as you can in the clean, but you have to turn this way down to about 2 or so.
Right.
When you put it in the clean mode, you can get that same sound at 2 up around 5 or 6, and it just gives you a little more fine tuning.
Right. And back to the normal channel, you can still, so we've got the preamp at 6, and we've got the normal volume here, and you can still, this is a humbucker and a P90. It's still dirty, but it still has that push.
Oh yeah.
Classic sound.
Yeah.
Back to putting the, it's all in, you're in control of the sounds, you're in control of the tones. Using the
wide range. It's got really wide range.
Right, yeah, it's got, let's see. In the normal channel, we've got that, you could hear that the gain is there, but when you hit it pretty hard, the power amp comes in and gives that nice compressed sound.
Yeah.
It's place your order now with Lynn Burke over at Blue City Music. I've been doing business with both Mike and Lynn for a very long time. They'll get you hooked up. Not only can they, this is a pretty much close to a stock SLO.
It's
This is it. This is Mike's amp.
Yeah.
You notice he's got the custom covering here. Lynn and Mike, give them a call. They can get you what you could put. If you could put glue on it, you could put it on the amp. Right?
That's exactly right. That's right. Basically,
Right.
if we can make it stick, we can put it on there.
Right.
So
and as you can see throughout this, Russ is back there hard at work. He's the best amp covering guy
in the world.
In the world.
In the world.
He made a custom thing for Lynn for his favorite football team. Who's your favorite football team? Is it Alabama?
The Tide.
Roll Tide? Is that what
There you go.
Yeah, so and Mike's got one of the Seattle Seahawks
That's right.
that we'll bring in, and I'll capture a good photo of it so you can see it. So the one thing that you can't get from, let me take a step back.
There it is.
Yeah, when you work with, someone who has a passion not only about tone, but a passion about craftsmanship, you can get fine quality things like this. This thing looks amazing.
Yeah, and this is not painted. These are actually cut and inlaid. This is white vinyl, this is blue vinyl, this is green. This is all separate pieces. This is not some paint job. This is actual different pieces of vinyl all inlaid. As are these. These are
Right.
3 different colors of vinyl, and we just have these beautiful disappearing seams. And
Yeah.
so we can
Personalize.
build some very cool stuff.
Personalize your SLO or any other Soldano that you order from Lynn over at Blue City Music. Give him a call. We'll make sure that we include his phone number, his email, and his website. And man, I'm excited that my wife loves that green. And in fact, Mike and I were talking about getting my own covering for green for my wife, because my wife owns the SLO.
That's right.
She just lets me borrow it every now and then. So, guys, honestly, thank you guys for your time.